Alright guys, welcome back for more gaming news. It's again your friend here, and tonight we will be discussing about new upcoming gaming title on Indiana Jones, inclusive of its release date with all latest news and rumors surrounding it. Let's begin. Lucasfilm Games has officially confirmed a new Indiana Jones game. The adrenaline-fueled archaeologist's next outing is in the works at Wolfenstein developer Machine Games, with Bethesda Game Studios head Todd Howard set to be the project's executive producer. As it stands, we're still waiting on some major details for the new Indiana Jones game, including the information on the storyline, release date, and confirmation of what it will actually be called. There is even a debate about what platform the new Indiana Jones game will be released on now that Microsoft has acquired Bethesda's parent company ZeniMax Media. However, thanks to StarWars.com, Lucasfilm's official news outlet, we do know that this will be an original, standalone tale set at the height of the career of the famed adventurer. Naturally, Indiana Jones is one of the many upcoming Bethesda games worth watching right now, alongside Starfield and Redfall. Although this one holds a special place in our hearts because of the presence of Machine Games. The team is responsible for some of the best FPS games of the modern era, including Wolfenstein: The New Order and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. In a recent podcast, Todd Howard hesitated to reveal the genre of the new game, saying it's going to be a blend of many things, which sparks more anticipation about when exactly Indiana Jones is coming out. What's the story, setting, characters, or combat in the new game? Although the folks at Machine Games have been tight-lipped for the most part, we can sum up a decent list of things from the little they have shed light on so far. There's yet to be a word on when we'll get our hands on the new Indiana Jones game, but we're expecting it will be for a few years. In a tweet announcing the game back in January 2021, Bethesda said, "It'll be some time before we have more to reveal," which isn't surprising, given that the company is also working on Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 currently. However, since Machine Games and not Bethesda Game Studios are handling this, we won't necessarily need to wait until Starfield is finished. At this point, we expect the game to release in end of 2023, although it would be nice to get some news before Q2 2023. It's worth noting that the June 2022 Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase focused on games launching in the next 12 months. Because Indiana Jones didn't show, it seems very unlikely we'll see it until, at the earliest, the second half of 2023. A new Indiana Jones game with an original story is in development from our studio, Machine Games, and will be executive produced by Todd Howard in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games, tweeted Bethesda when the game was announced. It'll be some time before we have more to reveal, but we're very excited to share today's news. So no release date was given for the game. We're still waiting for updates on Space RPG Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6, so the Indiana Jones game joins the significant slate of upcoming Bethesda titles that we're desperate to know more about. While we don't have an exact release date right now, there is a new Indiana Jones movie in production. While the film was slated to release in 2022, it's since been delayed to June 30th, 2023. If Bethesda wants to tie into the hype of the movie, it could be some time until we see the game release. However, a 2023 release window could be more realistic. Plus, a new Indiana Jones movie will drop release on June 30th, 2023. So perhaps Bethesda will capitalize on the movie's hype and release the game within the same year. Time will tell. Platform-wise, since most Bethesda games launch on Xbox, we believe Indiana Jones will be an Xbox exclusive too. It could also launch on PlayStation 5. Either way, Bethesda is yet to give an official confirmation as to which platforms the new game will release on. We also don't know the editions available, which isn't surprising, given that Indiana Jones is still in its very early stage development phase. Microsoft acquired Bethesda Game Studios in 2020, with the acquisition being made final on the 9th March 2021. And when it comes to any company that Microsoft owns, they tend to keep things quite close to the chest, and Bethesda games are no different. The Xbox Series X and S and PC are now the only platforms for Bethesda's upcoming games, as of the completion of this acquisition. Naturally, Indiana Jones will do the same, meaning that it won't be possible for anyone to play this game on any other console, such as the PS5. Because this is a Bethesda title, the new Indiana Jones game could be an Xbox Series X and PC exclusive, which begs the question of whether PS5 players will get a chance to play the Indiana Jones game. Microsoft bought Bethesda for $7.5 billion in 2021. The exclusivity of all its future titles in doubt. A recent podcast suggested that the game would be an Xbox exclusive, but that hasn't been confirmed by Bethesda as of yet. We don't know whether or not there are any contractual obligations around the Indiana Jones game, but based on Spencer's words, it seems like there's a good chance the new Indiana Jones game will, at the very least, be a Game Pass title. if not an outright Xbox exclusive. Spencer didn't explicitly name the game, so we can't be certain just yet. Bethesda shared a teaser trailer on Twitter in January 2021 that officially announced the new Indiana Jones, though it had more Easter eggs than game details. The trailer pans across a desk covered with books, a camera and papers before landing on the iconic fedora and whip of Dr. Henry Indiana Jones Jr. It's not much, but it's enough to get us excited, and there seems to be some clues about. The announcement of the new Indiana Jones game came in the form of a teaser video that was packed full of tantalizing hints about where the Indiana Jones game might take us. There are lots of things we'd expect to see: a passport, the hat, the whip. More intriguing are what appears to be a plane ticket to Rome and the date 1937. That date places the game's timeline between the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. From the date and location, we can expect Italian fascist leader Benito Mussolini to merit at least a mention in the game, and the notes on the desk also hint at links to the Vatican and the US government. The books on show are Ancient Circles, Myths That Made, and Forbidden Stones. Rome isn't exactly short on ruins or a history of myths and legends for the game to pull from, but the links to the Vatican suggest Indy could once again be on the trail of a holy relic. Italy is home to prehistoric stone walls dotted across called Cyclopean ruins, birthed stories that the lands were once inhabited by giants. Some of those Cyclopean ruins can be found just outside Rome in west-central Italy. The new Indiana Jones game is a collaboration between Machine Games and Lucasfilm Games. "We're developing a new Indiana Jones video game," Machine Games tweeted. "As huge fans of the franchise, it's a tremendous honor for us to create a brand new Indiana Jones game with a completely original story. We're very excited and can't wait to share more in the future." Machine Games is known for its reboot of the Wolfenstein series, so it has experience with characters who like punching fascists. And it's a safe bet that the Indiana Jones game will be first-person and heavy on the action. Indiana Jones is also famous for his encounters with the Nazis, and Machine Games has had plenty of fun finding new and horrible ways to dispatch history's greatest villains in the Wolfenstein games. B.J. Blazkowicz has used everything from laser weapons to a super soldier body with built-in stilts. It's likely Indiana Jones will stick to more traditional methods of fighting fascists, using his whip, his pistol, and his knack for survival to take on any enemies he may encounter. The Indiana Jones game is currently in its very early stages of development. Machine Games isn't at all new to the scene, having developed the Wolfenstein series and, more recently, Deathloop. With Wolfenstein's focus on first-person gameplay and the Nazis, it's possible Machine Games will step up their game in their transition to Indiana Jones, both narratively and gameplay-wise. It'll be a while before we get our hands on Machine Games' Indiana Jones game, as Senior Vice President of Global Marketing and Communications Pete Hines said in mid-2021 that the game was still in the very early stages of development. In an interview as part of GameSpot's Play for All event in June 2021, Hines said, "They're working on the Indiana Jones games, which we just talked about earlier this year. Obviously, we literally just announced that deal, so you can make your own guesses about how far along that is." Howard's comments definitely raise more questions than answers, especially since most people believe the game to have an action-adventure gameplay style. Now, there's just no knowing what exactly the gameplay will look like. Perhaps the game will feature some puzzle-solving and dungeon-crawling elements. We'll have to wait and see. Very little is known about the story of the new game. During the announcement, Bethesda revealed the new Indiana Jones game is in development and features an original story about Indiana Jones. Some parts of the original story are also presumed to have taken place in 1937, likely in Vatican City. Given Bethesda's past experience in developing stories about Nazis in the Wolfenstein series, it's possible we'll see a step-up adaptation of the same. Moreso, considering we know Indiana Jones to fight against Nazis in some parts of his adventures. With Indiana Jones still in its early development stages, the overall idea for the storyline is that it will be a standalone feature set at the height of Indiana Jones' career. Right now, we need to learn more about the new Indiana Jones game setting. However, it looks like we won't be able to glean any story details from existing media, as Bethesda has confirmed that the game is an entirely original story in the announcement tweet. While that announcement teaser trailer was pretty brief, there may have been some hidden clues that eagle-eyed fans spotted may point to the game's setting. The game could be set, at least partly, in 1937 and see Indy adventuring to Rome. Given the trailer shows a map of Vatican City, as well as writing that partly says, "I will be arriving in Rome." Right now, though, this all remains entirely speculative, and it's worth remembering that plans can, and often do, change during development. First of all, Here's hoping that the collaboration with Lucasfilm means that Indiana Jones will at least look like Harrison Ford. There's nothing worse than loading up a game based on an iconic movie series, only to see a generic handsome dude replacing the hero you were hoping for. Expecting Mr. Ford to record all the dialogue is a bigger leap. It's hard to imagine he's in need of work offers these days. But we'll take a perfect-looking Indiana and a decent vocal impression over an unrecognizable face. We also want to see Indiana Jones' ingenuity reflected in the gameplay. The movies were never about him just racing in and shooting up the place. He employed a mixture of stealth, disguises, and puzzle solving to track down treasures, and was more likely to grab his whip than his pistol when it came to a fight. Okay, fine. When it comes to the gameplay, we're basically saying we want Uncharted, but the Indiana Jones version. Is that so wrong? Whatever Bethesda and Machine Games have in store for us, we know we'll be waiting a while to see more. That gives us plenty of time to rewatch the movies, work on our Sean Connery impressions, and go back into the therapy to try and repress as much of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull as possible.